The city is alive, but it never sleeps. Chicago's streets glow with red and blue lights, shadows creeping between the alleys, and every corner feels like it's waiting to explode. Power doesn't belong to the weak here, it's taken, stolen, fought for. And when one man comes back to claim it, the whole city learns what it means to live under his fire. The night stretches wide, cold winds rolling over the concrete jungle, and the sound of engines tearing through empty streets echo like war drums. This is not just a city, it's a battlefield wrapped in neon lights and blood. The rules here are simple: survive if you can, strike before you are struck, and never, ever show fear. From the shadows, the past rises like smoke. And with it comes the one man this city thought it could swallow whole. Tommy. He is not the type to walk quietly. He arrives like a storm. And with him comes the taste of danger that the air itself cannot shake. Behind the noise of the city, money changes hands faster than bullets leave chambers. Every deal, every handshake, every whisper in a dark room pulls threads that stretch from street corners to high-rise pen. Chicago's underworld is not one monster but 1,000 snakes, all waiting to strike, all waiting to claim a piece of power. The gangs don't trust each other, but they fear losing ground even more. And now, with Tommy cutting his own path, fear is spreading faster than the wind that howls down State Street. His name alone is enough to pull old enemies back to the surface. Men and women who once thought they had buried him beneath ambition and greed. But Tommy doesn't stay buried. He claws his way out, dragging the past behind him, and uses it as a weapon to carve a new empire. Power in this city is a living thing. It flows like fire through veins. It corrupts, it blinds, but it also keeps you alive. Once you taste it, you can't let go, even when it burns you. Every corner of Chicago is soaked with this hunger, every pair of eyes carrying a dream too dangerous to hold, and every gun raised as a promise that nothing here comes without blood. Tommy knows this hunger better than anyone. He carries it like a scar. His road is not paved with forgiveness. It is carved with violence. And every rival knows that stepping in his way is not just a mistake. It's a death sentence. But the city is not just enemies in shadows. It's friends who can't be trusted, allies who will sell their loyalty for a fistful of cash, and families breaking apart in the smoke of betrayal. Tommy does not move alone. Around him, faces rise and fall, some hungry for the power he brings, others terrified of what his rise will awaken. The Flynns, with their empire built on old blood, watch him closely, their smiles thin and sharp as blades. Diamond and Jennard, bound by brotherhood but split by ambition, feel the ground shaking under their feet as Tommy's presence forces them to choose between unity and survival. And in the back rooms of law enforcement, eyes study his every move, waiting for one slip that will give them the chance to drag him into chains. Chicago breathes like a beast, each breath filled with tension, each heartbeat louder than the last. Sirens cut the night, deals collapse in gunfire. And through it all, Tommy's figure keeps moving, unstoppable, like the city itself bends to his will. He doesn't wait for permission. He doesn't ask for forgiveness. He takes what he wants, and if someone gets in the way, the city learns how quickly silence can replace a scream. He is more than a man returning. He is the spark on dry streets, the fire that consumes everything in its path. And no one, not rivals, not friends, not the police, can escape the storm he brings. The game is set, the board is covered in shadows, and the city waits, trembling, because everyone knows that when power shifts, it never moves quietly, erupts. Chicago is about to burn, and Tommy is holding the match. The city doesn't just fight back, it plots, it whispers, it watches. Chicago's streets are like veins carrying secrets, and every block bleeds with a story waiting to explode. Once Tommy sets his foot deeper into this war, it's no longer about survival, it's about domination. The city feels his presence like a storm cloud overhead. His enemies don't just see him, they fear what he forces them to see in themselves: weakness, desperation, and the hunger they cannot control. The nights grow longer, filled with more than just the roar of engines and the hum of neon lights. Behind closed doors, deals unfold under the weight of betrayal. Claudia Flynn stirs her own game in silence, weaving ambition like a spiderweb, her eyes sharp, her smile sharper. She wants more than money. She wants control, the kind that poisons slowly but kills completely. And every time she moves, she leaves a trail for Tommy to either follow or burn down. Diamond and Jennard are no strangers to blood, but even they feel the ground cracking beneath them. Brothers divided, trapped between loyalty and greed, their war is no longer just with the city, it's with themselves. Diamond seeks order, balance, a way to hold the streets without drowning in chaos. Jennard wants fire, speed, and power that doesn't wait. Together they could control their world. But with Tommy pulling strings they didn't even know existed, the cracks between them widened. And, in Chicago, a crack doesn't stay small. It shatters everything around it. But the most dangerous enemy is not the one with the loudest gun. It's the one who smiles across the table, waiting for you to make the wrong move. The city's old families, the ones who've built their thrones out of blood and silence, see Tommy as a threat to their legacy. They remember the fall of ghosts before him, men who reached too far and vanished into graves unmarked. But Tommy is not a ghost. He is flesh and blood, rage and steel, and he doesn't scare like the others. He doesn't fold under pressure, he explodes. Every bullet he fires is not just a shot, it's a message. He will not be forgotten. And he will not be stopped. Law enforcement closes in, hungry for a trophy. Detectives watch the chessboard shift, listening to every rumor, every whisper, and every scream in the night. They know Tommy is dangerous, but they don't know how to catch him. He is a shadow that moves faster than their lights, a phantom they can't lock down. Every time they get close, they find nothing but ashes and bodies cooling in the dark. And still, they keep trying, because to them, Tommy isn't just another criminal, he's the man who makes them question who really owns this city. The tension spreads like wildfire. Guns are loaded. Streets that once felt alive now feel cursed, each corner a trap, each alley a grave waiting to be dug. Friends look at each other with suspicion. Allies measure their loyalty in dollars. And rivals sharpen their knives, not just for Tommy but for each other. The city is a powder keg, and one spark will ignite it all. But Tommy doesn't wait for sparks. He strikes the match himself, daring the whole city to burn with him. And yet, behind the fury, behind the storms of blood and money, there's something more dangerous than violence. It's the silence of what no one dares to say out loud. Power isn't just about guns or drugs or money. It's about fear, respect, and control. The kind of power that changes the way people breathe when you walk into the room. Tommy doesn't just want the streets. He wants the city's soul. And the city, unwilling to surrender, sharpens its claws. The war is no longer hidden. It's loud, violent, and crawling into every corner of life. Families are torn apart. Lovers turn into enemies. Friends vanish overnight, swallowed by the hunger for survival. The city itself feels like it's choosing sides, every block ready to become a battlefield. And in the center of it all stands Tommy, unshaken, unbroken, ready to rewrite the rules of the game. This isn't just a fight for control. This is a fight for identity, for survival, for the very heart of Chicago. And in this war, mercy has no place. Every step forward means blood. Every choice means death. Every victory comes at a price too heavy to carry. But Tommy carries it anyway, because in his world, there is no other way. You either hold power or you are crushed by it. The storm doesn't wait, it crashes through the city with teeth. Chicago has always been a place of deals and debts, but now it feels like a war zone dressed as a skyline. The buildings rise high, but the streets below bleed low. Tommy doesn't just walk into this chaos, he bends it, twisting it into something new, something no one can control. He doesn't negotiate peace, he wages war. And every move he makes leaves someone else shaking in the dark, wondering if they'll survive the next sunrise. The sound of betrayal is not always a shout. It's the silence between words, the glance that lasts too long, the smile that hides a knife. Tommy feels it around him, the shifting loyalty of those who stand close but keep their hands hidden. Every ally he makes carries a shadow of doubt. Claudia plays her games with poison on her tongue, her empire of lies dressed in silk and secrets. Diamond tries to keep order, his calm a mask stretched over fear, while Jennard burns faster, hotter, willing to sacrifice everything if it means standing taller. None of them truly trust each other, yet all of them need Tommy. And that need is the crack that keeps widening. The city grows hungrier. Guns are not enough anymore. Everyone wants territory, money, legacy. Entire neighborhoods split in two, families turn on each other, and blood runs like ink across the streets. Tommy's rise forces everyone to choose a side, but choosing a side in Chicago is the same as signing your name on a coffin. One wrong step, one misplaced word, and the city eats you alive. The police circle tighter, their presence heavier with every passing night. But their power is nothing compared to the fear gripping the people on the ground. No badge can protect you when war owns the streets. Tommy doesn't run from the chaos, he feeds it. He turns every rival into a stepping stone, every threat into fuel. His strength is not just his rage, it's his refusal to back down. Where others hesitate, he strikes. Where others plot in silence, he acts loud enough to shake the city awake. But power is not free. Each choice he makes comes with a cost, and the weight of those costs piles higher than the bodies left behind. His war becomes a mirror, forcing everyone to face what they're willing to kill for and what they're willing to die for. And the city does not forgive. Old enemies, the kind buried deep in shadows, crawl back out to settle scores. The ones who whispered his name now scream it, and they don't scream it with fear, they scream it with vengeance. Tommy's fire spreads so wide that even those who stayed quiet for years now find themselves dragged into the war. No one is safe, not families, not lovers, not children who grow up under the echo of gunfire. The streets don't care who you are. They only care about the blood you spill and the power you hold, as nights turn into weeks. Chicago itself seems to shift under the weight of what's coming. The skyline feels darker, the alleys colder, the silence sharper. Each shot fired feels like a heartbeat, each deal broken like a warning. And every scream becomes part of the city's soundtrack. Tommy pushes forward, unrelenting, but even he knows storms can swallow the ones who created them. The war he started is not one he can end. It has grown beyond him, bigger than any one man, bigger than any one crew. The city begins to crack open. Like an earthquake shaking foundations no one thought could fall. Alliances dissolve into dust, brothers turn on each other with knives instead of words, and the police, desperate to control the chaos, strike harder. Their hands bloody with both justice and corruption. Chicago feels like it's eating itself alive. And in the middle of it all is Tommy, standing firm, daring anyone to try and take him down. But even storms have eyes, and in that silence, in that fleeting calm between explosions, the truth cuts deeper than any bullet. Power doesn't just destroy your enemies, it destroys you. Every step Tommy takes pulls him further into a place where there is no escape, no peace, no end. His fight is not just against the city, it's against himself, against the shadows he carries, against the ghosts that whisper in his ear every time the streets grow quiet. The war has reached a point of no return. The city knows it, the players know it, and Tommy knows it. The fire is too big, the hunger too strong, the blood too deep. There is no going back. Chicago belongs to the one willing to burn for it. And Tommy is ready to set the match on himself if that's what it takes. The city is no longer whispering, it's screaming. Chicago feels like a furnace now. Every street corner radiating heat from battles no one can control. The skyline glows red, not from lights, but from the chaos rising beneath it. What started as moves on a board has turned into a full war where nobody's hands are clean. Guns no longer rest in pockets. They stay in hands. Words are no longer spoken with caution. They are spit out like threats. And every night feels like it could be the last before everything burns to ash. Tommy stands at the center of it. Not as a man seeking survival, but as a figure who has become the storm itself. His name is no longer just known, it is feared, cursed, shouted in backrooms, and prayed against in church pews. Mothers warn their children about him, rivals sharpen their blades for him, and allies wonder if siding with him is the same as digging their own graves. But Tommy doesn't ask for loyalty. He doesn't beg for respect. He takes it, carves it into the city with the only language Chicago truly understands: violence. The walls are closing in. Claudia, wrapped in silken venom, threads her empire like a noose, waiting for the perfect moment to tighten it around anyone foolish enough to stand in her way. And Tommy, diamond, steady but shaken, tries to hold his crumbling world together, while Jannard embraces the fire, blind to the fact that flames don't care who they consume. Every move feels final now, every decision heavy with the weight of lives about to be lost. There are no small choices left. Everything is life or death, power or ruin. The police swarm harder, desperate to cage a war they can no longer contain. Raids cut through the night, cells fill with broken soldiers, and still the city bleeds. Corruption runs so deep that even the badge feels like another mask in the game. No one can tell justice from revenge, law from crime. Chicago is not being saved, it is being consumed. And in the middle, Tommy refuses to stop. Every raid that tries to pin him down only fuels his fury. Every cop that hunts him becomes another shadow in his rear view. He knows the walls are there, but he would rather die fighting inside them than live on his knees. The betrayals cut sharper than bullets. Friends fold into enemies. Bloodlines fracture. People Tommy once counted on disappear into smoke. Their names erased in the rush of war. Trust dies first in Chicago, and with it goes the last hope of peace. What remains is raw animal survival. Tommy doesn't just fight for territory anymore, he fights because it's all he knows. The city has stripped him down to his core, and what's left is rage, loyalty to no one but himself, and a hunger that can't be killed. But the cost is mounting. Behind the fire in his eyes lies the shadow of every soul lost along the way. Ghosts walk with him, now friends, brothers, enemies, all whispering in his ear. each one asking if he's any different from the monsters he swore to destroy. Power doesn't just feed him, it poisons him, it makes him untouchable, but it also makes him hollow. And as he rises higher, the drop beneath him grows deeper. The fall waiting like a promise he cannot escape. The final war is not fought on one street, but on every block, every corner, every rooftop. Explosions rip through silence, screams echo louder than sirens, and the city becomes a battlefield no one can control. Tommy walks through it unflinching, his presence as sharp as the bullet he chambers. His eyes cold enough to freeze the fire around him. He doesn't blink, he doesn't flinch, he doesn't stop, because he knows that the only way to own Chicago is not to rule it, it's to destroy everything standing in the way until nothing remains but him. And yet, in the deepest silence after the gunfire, in the crack between chaos and victory, one truth cuts through like glass. There is no such thing as winning. Every throne is built on bones, every crown is paid for with blood, and the city, alive and breathing, will never truly belong to anyone. It only lends its power to those ruthless enough to claim it until it swallows them. Tommy doesn't care. The fire is already lit, the streets already burning. Chicago will bend, or it will break. And as the smoke rises and the city trembles, one name, one force, one man stands unshaken in the ruins. The war is not over, it has only just begun.